Here's the difference between a GM lifter and a GM tick. And it's all thanks to what GM calls AFM, Active Fuel Management, 4-cylinder mode. And now don't get me wrong, saving fuel is cool and all, until the one time one of these lifters does not want to leave 4-cylinder mode. Not only are these a pain in the ass to replace, but most of the time they take out the camshaft too. Book says this job should take 20 hours. To put that into perspective, an entire engine replacement should only take 12. So this job could be done in about 10 hours if it wasn't for the placement of this one single bolt. Once you get the front clip torn off, you get the intake off, the head's removed, the lifter's pulled out, you go to remove the cam and realize that the oil pump's in front of the timing chain, so you take the bolts out of that, and that's when you realize that that bolt is what holds the pickup tube to the bottom of the pump. There is not very much room to get to that at all. Now, according to GM, they say to remove the oil pan, but in order to remove the oil pan, you gotta drop the steering rack, you gotta drop the front differential, the cross member, raise the engine up. Wait a minute, how do I have the pump off with the pan still on? Let me just say that after removing about 2 dozen of those pans to get this bolt out, you become more than determined to find a better way. So the main problem here is that when you try to stick a wrench in here to break that bolt loose, you're at too steep of an angle, and all you end up doing is rounding the hex off. So by grinding the closed end of the wrench so that it fits between the bolt and the tube itself, you can get a much better grab on it. Once you get this in here and you break it loose, then it's just a matter of a 45-degree hemostat where you grab and twist and grab and twist. Once you get down to about half a thread left, you're gonna notice the bolt starts to wiggle, and you have to be very careful not to drop it. The pan is sloped and it will go down and fall into the sump. And then you're back to square one, removing the pan. But once the bolt is out, you can pry down the pickup tube just enough to clear and pull the pump off. For those of you that are still here watching, I bet you wanna know how to put that bolt back in. Well, you're gonna have to follow for part 2. Here's the difference between a GM lifter and a GM... Calm down, I was just kidding. If you look close at the pump, you'll see that there are 2 bolt holes, but the tube only uses 1. If you bring your attention down here to the pickup tube itself, see how the flange is mounted to the tube? That little tack weld? I didn't see it either. Anyways, just spin that flange around and use the hole that's accessible. I always joke around about GM being a general mistake, but this was an actual fucking mistake. The more I think about it, why in the hell wouldn't they use that top hole in the first place?